Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. The U.S. State Department asserts that Hamas can end the war in Gaza at any given moment if it decides to release all hostages and lay down its arms. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declares that Israel is winning the seven-front war. Egypt has relayed a new ceasefire proposal to include the release of a number of hostages. The IDF continues to gradually escalate its offensive against the Islamist Hamas terror organization throughout the Gaza Strip. Over the course of the past 24 hours, the IDF struck hundreds of terror targets, seemingly ratcheting up the military pressure on the Islamist Hamas, with the Palestinian terror group acknowledging the elimination of its prime minister in the Gaza Strip, Ismail Balhoum, who hid alongside his wife and a number of terror operatives in the side ward of Netzel Hospital. Balhoum, who was in charge of Hamas's finances amongst others, is the seventh senior member of the terror group who was eliminated in recent days, to also include Salah al-Bardawil, who was in charge of Hamas's strategic affairs. Al-Bardawil was eliminated while hiding in a makeshift tent in the southern town of Khan Yunis. And while the Hamas-run Gazan Health Ministry quickly published that women and children were killed in that strike, a relatively grand funeral subsequently ensued for the arch-terrorist, who was praised for 65 years of jihad, an Islamic term for holy war.
الليلة كانت ليلة صعبة وارتقى الشهداء، ونودع اليوم من هذه المشرحة الدكتور عضو المجلس التشريعي النائب الدكتور صلاح البردويل أبا محمد. 65 عاما من الجهاد والتضحية ترحل اليوم بخاتمة تليق بك يا أبا محمد، وأنت تقيم الليل شهيدا لن ترفع الراية بل كنت صامدا بين أبناء شعبك.
Another terror operative who was eliminated yesterday included Hussam Basil Abdul Karim Shabat, who worked as an Al Jazeera reporter, all the while also operating as a Hamas sniper of the terror group's Beit Hanun battalion. And while the IDF provided clear-cut evidence of Al-Shabaab's terror affiliation, the UN and European actors were quick to deplore Israel for the elimination of its so-called Al Jazeera journalist. Meanwhile, in Ramallah, EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas, after a meeting with President Mahmoud Abbas and Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa, proclaimed that the European Union views the Palestinian Authority as the best placed to govern Gaza.
European Union sees the Palestinian Authority as best placed to govern Gaza. Here, Prime Minister, you can also count on the EU support in helping the Palestinian Authority to prepare.
While stopping short from mentioning the crucial necessity for the Palestinian Authority to reform its deeply corrupt institutions, Kallas announced that in less than a month's time, the European Union intends to hold an unprecedented, high-level political dialogue with the Palestinian Authority's leadership in Brussels.
In less than a month, we will be holding our first ever high-level political dialogue in Brussels with Palestine. This is an important basis to increase our cooperation in many areas.
The EU Foreign Policy Chief went on to stress the necessity to reinvigorate the ceasefire for the Gaza Strip by releasing all hostages from Hamas captivity and resuming the flow of humanitarian goods into the Gaza Strip.
The EU strongly opposes the resumption of war. It is causing an appalling and unacceptable loss of life in Gaza. My message during my visit here are very clear. Hamas must release all hostages. Israel must fully reinstate humanitarian aid to Gaza, and negotiations must resume. Prime Minister, you can count on the EU's support to return to the ceasefire.
It is important to know that while the act of hostage-taking constitutes a grave breach in international armed conflicts and is labeled a war crime in non-international armed conflicts, per the Geneva Convention, as was articulated to the EU Foreign Policy Chief yesterday, Article 23, to be exact, of the Fourth Geneva Convention clearly states that a side in a war is not obliged to allow in aid if it is likely to assist the military or economic efforts of the enemy, which is proven to be the case vis-à-vis the Islamist Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And while the Palestinian enclave is ridden by destruction and ruin, the European Union evidently adopted the Egyptian post-war plan for the Gaza Strip, irrespective of its viability.
It's hard to talk about the reconstruction while the bombs are falling. But the Prime Minister and I also discussed the Arab plan for Gaza, which is something that the EU supports as a basis.
It is important to know that Egypt had threatened to expel Hamas operatives from its territory if the Islamist terror group would refuse to accept a new ceasefire and hostage release proposal that was put forward by Cairo. An Arab official who was quoted by Israel's state Khan television claimed that Hamas accepted the proposal, which includes providing information regarding the state of the hostages, the release of 5 or 6 living hostages in exchange for the entry of humanitarian aid, as well as by a temporary cessation of hostilities of a couple of weeks. Meanwhile, U.S. State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce, in response to a question on whether the United States was apprised of the latest Egyptian proposal, she noted that while she is not apprised of the latest bid, Egypt's post-war plan for the Gaza Strip, which gained support from both the United Nations and European Union, has not met the requirements of the Trump administration.
Things we do know is that the Egyptians care about the situation. There is the Arab plan. We know that has been discussed. We know how the Arab plan has not met the requirements of the Trump administration in a couple of instances, and when it comes to certainly Gazans and their safety in this process.
The State Department's spokeswoman was further asked whether Israel had briefed the United States on its plans for a massive ground operation into Gaza, to which Bruce seized the opportunity to remind that Hamas could end the war at any given moment.
It's the simplest thing in the world. Hamas could release the hostages, which they still have, and the bodies of those that they've killed, and they could lay down their arms, and the suffering would end. All of this would end. And the questions come back, understandably, to the State Department, to Marco Rubio, to envoys, to people trying to get it to stop about one thing, or why haven't you done this, or would you do this? It is Hamas it's one step it could take, and the carnage could end. I would say that every single thing that's happening is a result of Hamas and its choices to drag that region down into a level of suffering that has been excruciating and has caused innumerable deaths. And of course, their reaction on October 7th, when there was a ceasefire and people were living in some relative peace, they decided to break that with an atrocity that was just certainly the most Jews killed in a single framework than during the Holocaust. And we also, I can tell you, we stand by Israel and its needs as it defends itself through this period of time, as we also work with them so that they don't need to defend themselves from the barbarity of an entity that has destroyed lives for generations and continues to.
Earlier this week, during a visit to the IDF enlistment and induction base in central Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with new recruits who've enlisted to the IDF's Armored Corps, during the course of which he declared that Israel is winning the Seven-Front War.
אני פה בביקור בבקו"ם, בסיס קליטה ומיון, עם חיילים שמתגייסים היום, מתגייסים לחיל השריון. השריון הוא חלק אינטגרלי, חלק קריטי במלחמה שלנו בשבע החזיתות, מלחמת התקומה שבה אנחנו מנצחים. אנחנו מנצחים משום שאנחנו מבינים שכדי להכריע את אויבינו, אלה שסוגרים עלינו לידינו, אנחנו פורצים אותם בכוח מחץ קרקעי, נוסף על העבודה המצוינת של חיל האוויר, המודיעין, חיל הים וכמובן חיל הרגלים. אנחנו מביאים כוח מחץ אדיר, שזה השריון. אם מישהו הספיד את השריון, הוא למד להעריך היום את העוצמה האדירה שיש לחיל הזה והחשיבות שלו להכרעת האויב. אני חייב להגיד שיש עוד דבר שהוא תמיד נכון, וזה הרוח של הלוחמים בתוך הטנקים, הרוח של הלוחמים בשאר היחידות של צה"ל, הרוח הזאת כפי שבאה היום בהתנדבות שראיתי כאן, אנשים שרוצים להיות תותחנים, אנשים שרוצים להיות מתקים, אנשים שרוצים לעשות כל צעד אפשרי ולקחת חלק אישי בניצחון של עם ישראל כדי להבטיח את נצח ישראל. זה המפתח האמיתי לניצחון, ואנחנו נשלים את הניצחון הזה בהקדם.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I would like to initially thank TV7's family of viewers who are standing with us to ensure the continued productions of content that truly matters. TV7 Israel is a non-profit ministry with all of our productions exclusively reliant on your generosity. Therefore, I would like to encourage you, if you're blessed by the content of our programs, support TV7 Israel with a donation. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hessen wishing you an Erev Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.